Access granted.
Hi, how are you?
Double kill. I'm coming for you!
And another one. And another one.
Double kill.
What about you give your mate a good old roll?
That's it.
Nice and
What?
spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
Hello everyone, my name is BobLyn and welcome back to another episode of Cruisers of Blitz. In episode 17 we are taking a look at the beautiful and powerful Napoli. This is a tier 10 cruiser of the Italian branch. It is kind of a mix between a heavy cruiser and a super cruiser. You get amazing secondaries, as you can see here, both auto and manual, that shoot sap. You have these two 152mm on each side, and then you have 90mm auto cannons. It is equipped with 254mm guns, 9 in total, and you get 9km torpedoes at the rear end. The Napoli is extremely tanky and gets fuel smoke and secondary overload, and let's check out how I set it up. So for the elite bonus I went with secondary gun specialization because this is a brawler. You go all in or you don't, because you know there's pretty much no turning back. So we of course have the Legion camo with secondary auto firing range. The historical one does not boost secondaries, but it gives surface detection and some other things. It's pretty good, but you know I prefer this one because it's brawling. Here we see the skills. We get a fuel smoke 3 in total that, you know, for 15 seconds have a fuel that is, fuel smoke that's active for 5, right? And then you get secondary overload 2, which is, well, it's just awesome. 3 in total. Let's check out the tankiness. 44,000 hit points. Sorry, there we go. 17.5 citadel protection. That is very, very high for a cruiser, and you will feel that in this ship. And if you spec into it, it's going to be great. Here we see the guns. I just wanted to show you the stats if any of you are interested. They are reload in 14 seconds, and I think that's reasonably fast because you do get quite a lot of citadels. Here we see 152 sap and 90mm sap. So you have quite a big suite of damage along with the torpedoes, of course. But these things do not pen big ships, these sap secondaries, so they are intended for destroyers. Here's my build, pretty standard. I run concealment even on this because I want to be able to ambush things like you saw at Smolensk in the beginning of Montage. Yeah, I run that. And then I run main battery mod 1 to turn my guns like I turn my ship, because I turn a lot in this thing. My commander is Carlo Costa, he's level 12, and we have underwater protection expert, torpedo alert, artillery maintenance, victorious charge, survivalist, and generalist. Then we have fully prepared, adrenaline rush, and I took that over Mistweaver simply because it buffs everything. See, adrenaline rush, I get something out of all these: main battery, torpedoes, secondaries, autos, you name it. So that's worth. Of course we take close quarters combat expert, honor seeker, and APCS, and to round it all off to get this tanky build, we take horizontal protection expert. So I think that's it for the setup. Now let's get into the first game. So here we are with the first game, and I didn't get the loading screen, so if you want to check out the enemy team, you can pause and see the scoreboard of the teams. So the Napoli, everyone, this is a pretty rare ship to see actually nowadays. I don't feel like a lot of people play the Napoli. I think a lot of people forget that this is actually a ship, you know, amongst the many other premium tier 10 cruisers we have nowadays. This one is interesting. The Napoli wants to get close, but it doesn't want to get close to BBs. It wants to get close to DDs and light cruisers. The Napoli shines when it is close in with a DD on both sides, so you can get both sides of your secondaries off, or maybe a Minotaur on the left side, DD on the right side, you know. It is exceptionally powerful in that situation. But if you are in between, let's say a GK and a Vermont, yeah, you're going to be gone very fast. Yes, you are very tanky for a cruiser, but you will still get wrecked. So in the beginning of the game here, we meet the Minotaur. I didn't want to push in the normal direction, like from the right side of this island next to us, but instead we took the left side, and we are granted with a Minotaur. And look at these sap secondaries, man. When they can pen, they deal a ton of damage very fast, and you can see there, we're just hammering away. Now, that's also a Vermont, but we are in the beginning of the game, and we're full HP, and it's still gonna take Vermont some time. So that's something you could do in this Napoli, and that's what I really like about it. You can actually kind of go Leroy Jenkins balls to the walls with this thing, and I would actually say you should do it. It's just a matter of finding the right opportunities. So for example, I decided to go right of this island because I knew the Vermont was right there, so to give him less time to shoot at me, you know, less exposed time for myself, I got behind the island, and now we can finish off Minnow here. So we get him with our 152s, and you know, here's Vermont eating my torpedoes as well. This thing has HE, of course, AP and HE on the main guns, but I would say stick to the AP because trust me, it does damage. And now you're gonna see what a Vermont, you know, does not want, because Vermont is still a very slow ship, and Napoli with this fuel smoke you can see is devastating, because a Vermont is a very slow target. So, you know, the secondaries, they kind of ramp up. They first have to acquire their target, but you can actually get it to hit the bow and stern, and if they do that, these, you know, secondaries, they will pen. And you can see how I'm just bullying this guy. I mean, he's getting bullied, because right now I'm on his opposite side of where his gun's aimed. So that's powerful. That's something you want to do in this ship. You want to be maneuvering, you want to be turning, you want to be getting out there fast. This is a ship where if you commit to a rush, you gotta commit 100%. You can't turn away because you're a huge ship. And once you're, you know, out of your secondary range, you're pretty much just a slower reloading Henry with a little bit bigger guns, right? The guns are 254s, Henry's 240. But you want to use these secondaries. If you're not in range of them, why are you playing the Napoli? And that's where your fuel smoke comes in. As we take out the Vermont, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's a tanky ship, Napoli, but you still gotta be careful. But Napoli's, you know, I guess you could say creme de la creme is hunting DDs, and it does that very well, because with the build I'm running, with, you know, I haven't spec'd into secondaries in my equipment, but that just doesn't make sense on cruisers, really. There's not really an upgrade that's good. But look at that, I'm you know, not hitting, but my secondary is already shooting this Friedrich. These secondary guns have a very long range. just over 8 kilometers, the autos, once you activate the overload. But once you activate the, overload with the manuals, man, you can get really far ranges, and you can just snipe DDs trying to get away. They will never expect it. And this gearing here, Phoenix, I don't think he expected it, because the main gun's also hurt. So you can see we're racking up damage. We're already at 100k, and there's a full health free take left. Now I gotta take care of this gearing because, yeah, I don't want a DD running around. But you can see this thing is also maneuverable. The Napoli's actually very fast and nimble. It really handles well. And that's why it's just such a fun ship, man. The Napoli is really a hilariously fun ship in some situations. You will have your struggles, like there's some team comps, very, very heavy artillery far range ships will devastate the Napoli, because if you can't get close, like, it's not fun. So you want to be, you want to be on the, not on the flanks, but you want to be on the outskirts, and you want to be, waiting for that opportunity. You want a target that is occupied by something else. For example, the Vermont we were shooting right before, he was occupied with something else way over in my team's area, but we could take advantage of that. There was nothing else to shoot us. That's where it's really strong. But do I think the Napoli is a worthwhile ship to get? I would actually say that, like I say many times, if it comes out in the shipyard, it's a really, really unique ship. And it combines this, the German, if you think of the Aegir, or if you've played the German battleships, Gneisenau, or something like that, it combines that with the Italian flair, where you get fuel smoke and sap. And it's a really fun combination. So here we are with the second game, and we're playing Epicenter. So Epicenter is always tricky, like some of you may know, but the main important thing here is we are waiting for an opportunity. We're waiting for somebody to push out alone, maybe. Somebody who we can duel and brawl, because in a 1v1, Napoli will win against a lot of ships. That is, granted, you can win against the BB, something like a GK, if you have fuel smokes, if you have all torpedoes hitting him, and if you are lucky with citadels, you can do it. But something like a Conqueror, right? That is a pretty easy target to take out for a Napoli, and you will see that in this game. Now, the reason I run surface detection on so many of my ships, and even something like the Napoli that is a huge battle cruiser, or heavy cruiser, I don't know what to call it. It's kind of a mix, right? It seems kind of weird to, chuck down the surface detection, but I want to get the drop on people. You've all tried it, where you're sailing in, let's say in your Hindenburg, your heavy cruiser, and you get spotted, and instantly all the BBs shoot at you. You have no chance to react, you are almost full broadside, and then you start turning, and then boom, you're wrecked. There's torpedoes, everybody's shooting at you, it's not fun. That's why I run surface detection. I want to be able to get the drop on somebody and observe what they do and make my best approach. And that is certainly important in this ship, because once you commit, like I said, you have to commit. You have to actually complete the push. You can't just get out. Yes, you can. You can use your fuel smoke as a get out of jail free card, but I would advise against that. I use the fuel smoke to engage targets, because the fuel smoke is pretty long and it actually does mask your movement excellently, like we all know. The secondaries, though, they have so much time to ramp up their accuracy and their damage while you are in the smoke. You can see here from this range, that's almost 10 kilometers when we started shooting. And this Worcester, man, look at these, like, they actually do damage to him sometimes. Sometimes you're unlucky, sometimes you're not, but the main guns are the star of the show on this thing. They are great. The main guns on Napoli could be, if the ship had, let's say, rapid reload and precise aiming instead, I think it would be, just a mini Roma. That would be a good ship in itself, because these 254s, man, they just work. But we have secondaries instead, and that's why you gotta make use of it, like I said. So here we spot the Conqueror I was talking about. And Lisa, I think it says, yeah, Lisa, or yeah, whoever that is all alone, and the CV is targeting this Conqueror. So I'm thinking, awesome, let's help. So you can see my secondary is already opening up, and on this thing, if we hit the bow, we'll definitely get some pens. Now, Conqueror decided to shoot HE, and that is a blessing for me since he didn't get a fire. And you can see Napoli's really tanky, like I said. 45,000 HP plus all this armor, citadel protection. it's awesome. It's pretty much only Vermont's and, you know, up after that, you know, to Shikishima caliber that can actually pen you solidly, you know, consistently. But just look at this Conqueror, man. I know he's getting pummeled by the CV2, but these secondaries, they actually do work. And combined with all these torpedoes you also have, I mean, it's only 4 per side, right? But they have 9 kilometers. And people don't tend to maneuver or avoid torpedoes from a cruiser like the Napoli. They don't really think about it. They just think you're gonna miss. But you don't. But just look at this cracked gameplay. We're just pumping out damage, shooting constantly, and now we're leaving. That is something the Napoli is amazing at. That right there was textbook Napoli gameplay. Now, yes, it's a DD hunter, light cruiser hunter, but this thing can hunt pretty much everything. When you have a maxed out build, unfortunately, there's no legendary commander that boosts SAP secondaries, and that's really unfortunate. I wish the SAP plus skill would boost the secondaries, because they could really use a buff against something like a GK, for example. And that's where the Napoli really falls off. The Napoli can have a really good time against the BB like the GK right there. He's full broadside, my secondaries just hit the superstructure, it's great. And then you can have games where you just get non-pen after non-pen when you commit to a push. That is a warning, you know, to anybody who thinks this ship is going to be, you know, the most OP thing out there. No, it's not. It's not OP, I would definitely not say so, but in the right hands and the right opportunity, this thing can dish out so much damage, because you have secondaries on both sides, and you see these main guns do work. I mean, we're hitting this Henry at 8 kilometers with our autos and our manuals. Look at that. I mean, we're just pumping out damage. On a Henry, it deals so much damage. I don't know what else to say, guys. When I started playing this game, sorry, the games for this video for Napoli, I hadn't played Napoli in such a long time, just like the Moskva. And I just found out how fun this thing is, and I really ended up enjoying playing the Napoli. I think it's really, really good cruiser, and I'm surprised to see not that many other people have it. I don't think it's been out ever since, actually, so maybe that's why. But if you are a whale like me, yes, I think I'm just gonna admit it now, guys. I'm a huge whale. I mean, every time I say I'm not gonna spend money, I do it anyways. So let's just say right now, if I say I'm not gonna spend money on this game, you better believe I'm gonna do it. A lot of people you have said it in the comments, and I mean, who am I kidding? It's pretty true. But I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed either, right? I support the game. That's the way I look at it. But anyways, this SX here is the final target, and I mean, this game is pretty much over. But as you can see, this thing is just great at cleaning up. It's a cleanup crew, and if people are low and don't really expect you to just come rushing in like Leroy Jenkins, you can really do a lot of damage. And I found myself having a ton of fun. You kind of get the brawling experience you hope for in Schlieffen. I feel like this thing is amazing. Like when you think of the brawling aspect compared to Schlieffen, because it's not as big, it's not as clunky, it is not as susceptible to AA and fire. You have your fuel smokes. So if you're kind of missing that brawling experience, this is definitely a ship for you. So this is the end of the video, and I really hope you enjoyed. What would I rate the Napoli on a scale of 1 to 10? Based on fun factor, man, it's a 10 out of 10. Based on fitting in the meta, I would say the Napoli is, you know, it's kind of like I would say it's a solid A tier, actually. I think it's really good in many situations. And I do recommend you get it if you see it in a good bundle or the shipyard. It's a fun ship. It's a great ship. My name has been BobLyn. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until I see you next time, BobLyn is signing out.